Well, good morning. I'm Jeff Coleman.
And I'm Deborah Pinkerton. Welcome to Morning Light.
We made it to Friday.
We did.
Well, the Morning Light panel will tackle a major question after this week's verdict against Meta and Google. Are tech companies to blame for addiction, or are parents still on the front line? Are they responsible? We'll break down where that line really lies today.
But first, here's a preview of what's coming up later in the show. March is Brain Injury Awareness Month. About 2.8 million people sustain brain injuries each year in the United States, highlighting the need for increased awareness and prevention efforts. Cristabelle Braden, founder and executive director of Hope Survives, is here to share how you can love and support those navigating life after a brain injury.
I saw a guitar somewhere in the studio. I hope she'll be singing today.
She will be.
Great. Well, a landmark verdict this week found that Meta and Google highlights an addictive design that can harm young users' mental health. This raises, of course, a pretty hard question. Who's ultimately responsible for kids, parents, or tech platforms? The jury's answer seems to be a little bit of both. Yes, parents are called to guide and monitor and discipline their children, but tech companies are also designing products engineered to take advantage of vulnerabilities and inexperience of children. So this is not an either-or issue. It's a collision between parental responsibility and corporate accountability, with the courts stepping in where the culture has pretty much failed.
And this case may not stop with social media. If courts can hold companies liable for addictive design, what happens with the next wave? Could it be AI technologies or immersive gaming? The deeper issue is not just individual platforms. It really is a business model built on maximizing human attention at almost any cost. If addiction becomes a recognized legal category, we may see lawsuits reshape entire industries on how they engage with users and prioritize safety.
Yeah, I think you're right, Deborah. The door is open now for a wave of lawsuits. So if the courts don't fix this, what do we do in the meantime? Of course, Scripture tells us we're not powerless. We're called to be self-controlled and watchful and always on guard. This means setting boundaries, refusing to be mastered by anything, whether food or entertainment or technology, even when what we're consuming has been designed to keep us hooked. So here's the question for the Morning Light panel. Is the verdict against Meta and Google shifting responsibility too far away from parents, from mom and dad? Or is it exposing a deeper problem, our attempt to change behavior without addressing the spiritual voids technology is filling? Robert William, Pastor Josh Robertson, and Ajay Kunarasa here this morning. Gentlemen, welcome. Glad to have you aboard, and I hope you have some answers, because for a very long time, I think we have been introducing new technologies. You know, Steve Jobs gives us this beautiful slab of glass that we touch and no buttons, and away goes all of the clunky phones. And now, from that introduction till today, our whole lives are changing. Touch screen refrigerators, and our cars are talking back to us, and then their devices listening to us and analyzing our needs, and then the paper towels arrive, at the front door. AJ, how do you look at this verdict and say, all right, whoa, who's responsible? Because it feels like this was a Hail Mary. This was kind of like, somebody do something, and there's some money, but there's still the problem.
Yeah, personally, I'm glad that this verdict came about, and that the jury and that, the judges are beginning to, sense that this is a problem, and that, maybe these companies, maybe there's some shared accountability that needs to take place, because it is hard. It is hard to create the boundaries and to live a healthy lifestyle with all the technology that is all around us. It takes an incredible amount of intentional.
Your dad, how many kids? And
I have 4 children.
And so how are you navigating this?
Oh, man, I mean, day by day, it is difficult. I think of Romans 12:1 when it says, do not be conformed to this world. And, man, there are so many things trying to pressure us. And these devices are trying to shape and form my children. And now as a parent, I have to be intentional to investigate and create the right boundaries for my kids so that I'm forming them and leading them to transformation instead of them being conformed.
Pastor, you are a high-tech pastor. You have high-tech glasses on. I'll just tell our audience right now, you've got high-tech things strapped to you. How have you decided in your own life, when a new technology is available, Josh Robertson is going to adopt this technology or not adopt it, or this is not coming into my house, or is all technology just kind of neutral, and it's what you put into the technology that kind of makes it good or bad?
I think that as it relates to my own person, I try to be more proactive in my approach to life, period.
Okay.
So I am on a daily basis working on my own character formation. I'm working on my own theological study. I'm working on my own parenting skills, my own marital ability. So for me, I use technology as a resource. And if it can help me be better with the things that I'm proactively working on, then I use it.
Okay.
So I don't think that technology and innovation in these things are in and of itself evil, but I think it's how you use it.
Okay, is
as
this
an
like
individual.
responsible gun ownership? It's like, you know, he's okay with the gun, but maybe not, or shouldn't be using it, or should have some regulations. So is that how you're framing this up?
That's how I frame at least the use of technology, social media, and these things. However, I think that if parents, as it relates specifically to parents, our job is to shape the character of our children. Our job is to proactively deposit what we think that they should be and who they should be.
So lawsuits, good or bad on things like this?
So I think it can be good and bad.
Okay.
On one end, how do you really censure an organization? But at the same time,
Who gave us this wonderful technology, right?
Exactly. But at the same time, when they're putting profits before people, then I think that can be very wicked and evil.
All right. So, Robert, the idea of lawsuits being the corrective. When we have technologies like gambling, for example, there's a fair number of widows in the American culture, both figuratively and literally. You know, I remember when gambling was being debated in the legislature, and we were hearing testimony from people whose husbands committed suicide because of gambling debts. That's not a rare occurrence anymore. Lawsuits might seem to be the answer, but that potentially these lawsuits could shut down the technology. So when is it the right time to sue for these compensatory damages and punitive damages on the company? And when is the right time to say, hey, just take care of yourself? You're an adult. You want to do that adult behavior? Because that's often the argument. You're going to live with the consequences.
That's a tough question, Jeff, because when is the right time to sue is almost a personal decision. And when somebody can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, something was done to me back then. You know, I'm going to go after that company.
Right.
And so there's no real, I don't think there's a real defining kind of a right time, wrong time thing. You know, anybody can sue at any time, and we live in that kind of society. But I think crossing the red line might be when actually verifiable damage is done, either psychologically or in the behavior of the child.
Which
or
the
teenager.
jury seemed to find in this case.
In this case, correct. That's what I think they went with. And whichever company is responsible for creating that screen or whatever has to face the consequences of that. Go through the lawsuit, you know, to whatever extent it goes, appeals and all that. But of course, this case, they're going to appeal it, and it's going to take time to see where they come out. But with that individual involved in this particular case, again, going back to your original question with the responsibility, you know, where does that stop and where does that
Okay,
start?
Ajay, we'll get a little tougher here in the weeds. I mean, people are suing gun owners. People are there's all car manufacturers that back to the Ralph Nader days that didn't have seatbelts. Technology changed and adapt. Is there a pump the brakes moment when it comes to saying, as a Christian, when we know a lawsuit puts us on a public stage, is there a different way that we approach lawsuits or how we talk about lawsuits, knowing that the justice comes from God ultimately, versus but we live in a world and we have a court system? Sorry to give you that one.
No, I think first off, I just want to say, as Christians, we are responsible. I never want to blame somebody else for what's my responsibility.
Okay.
We have responsibility for our children, for our homes, what we allow in our homes, and whether we give unlimited access to technology or not, that falls on me as the man of my house, you know. And now, whether to sue or not, I guess that's like almost a theological question, or case by case, like, were we a victim in a situation?
Right.
And I think in this case, I think the jury decided that the tech companies had addictive programming. They knew
what they were doing.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing, just like the way the tobacco companies knew
Right.
that their product was addictive and harming, but they resisted accountability. And I think that's the similarity here.
Okay.
Like, these tech companies, they know, with Jonathan Haidt's book, Anxious Generation,
Yeah,
the data is
right.
clear. Technology is harming kids.
Yes.
What are we going to do about it? It's a social problem. We all have responsibility.
I don't want to leave our more seasoned audience members out of this conversation, because we've been talking about kids and harm to kids, but there's also a major cultural change that's happening with people over 65 who are interacting with their devices while they are interacting with people, and it is changing the conversation with older people as well. What should they be, before generations are wagging fingers at each other, what should they be on alert for as we grow older and technology becomes an extra arm or a leg that we're so dependent on it?
I believe that we need to be conscious of the contamination of the human character. The reality is, we're growing to a point now where our intelligence is being corrupted, our ability to be critical thinkers is being contaminated because of technology, and I feel like we're losing this sense of community as well. Like, when you're with a human being, we were talking before the show started, we can go to a restaurant and see a family of 5 and everyone is on their device, right? Or yesterday, when I'm driving down the street in Philadelphia, I see a middle-aged woman in the middle of traffic with her phone.
In traffic.
In traffic, like walking in traffic.
Yeah.
And so I think, that these devices in and of themselves are not evil or inherently evil, but I think how we use them is, it can be. And I think we need to take responsibility, because if somebody does produce a product that is addictive in nature, it only has traction with you if you're addicted. And if you're, the one who's contributing to that or receiving that. And so I think, being responsible as a Christian, I think we have to take very seriously the commands of the Scripture to guard our eyes, to guard our mind, right? And to keep our mind on things elevated and not things of this world.
To guard against the contamination of our character. I love that phrase. I will try to write that on the fridge there. Look, we had a conversation for just about 10 minutes here, and none of us had our devices open, so it can be done. Hope for our audience, right?
Absolutely.
Well, coming up on Morning Light, community, connection, and hope for those living with a brain injury. Hope Survives walks alongside patients on their journey to recovery. The founder and executive director is here to explain how. Up next, you're watching Morning Light right here on Lighthouse TV.
Welcome back. March is Brain Injury Awareness Month. Brain injury encompasses many forms, including concussion, traumatic brain injury, and stroke. The nonprofit Hope Survives walks alongside those living with a brain injury. Joining us is founder and executive director Cristabelle Braden. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Share with us why this month is so very important to you.
Thank you for asking. So I had a brain injury when I was a teenager, and that led to completely changing my entire world and my family's world. I had to relearn things like getting dressed, taking a shower, cognitive difficulties, memory loss. My right side of my body became weaker, struggling with balance, and all these things you can't see on the outside. It led to more falls and more brain injuries because my balance was bad. I had a number of more injuries since the first one. And so over the course of many years, I've had multiple brain injuries. And looking at me, you could never tell that, right?
That is right.
And that's why Brain Injury Awareness Month matters, because you can't see brain injury on the outside. And the same is true for millions of people that are living with it. They're walking around looking, okay on the outside, but on the inside, it can be so hard to even just think of what you're going to say. There was a time that I couldn't have been under this many lights without a horrible headache or feeling so overstimulated that I couldn't function. And so brain injury awareness matters because I believe that people matter and their stories matters and their lives matter. And of course, it's a cause near and dear to my heart because the Lord has brought me through so much through the brain injury.
And through this, you created Hope Survives.
Yes. So for about 10 years, I had been doing support work in the brain injury community. It was something I felt that God called me to do. And it was online support groups and speaking and advocacy. And eventually that led to founding a nonprofit. It was a long journey with small steps, but we launched as a global nonprofit in early 2025, last year. And we help people who have been going through brain injury and their families. And we provide community education and wellness resources for those who are struggling with feeling isolated in this journey.
So, as you had mentioned, you founded this about a year ago. So how has it been going so far?
It's been wonderful. So we have an amazing team, a board of directors. My co-founder, Jasmine Balignase Chavez, has been an amazing help. And it's been such a beautiful journey to see. I mean, it's honestly sad how many people can relate and how many people are feeling isolated and are struggling. Because brain injury is not just concussion, it's traumatic brain injuries, falls, but also strokes, things like oxygen deprivations. Every time someone survives a drug overdose, it's a brain injury. Or, there's so many forms of brain injury. Even long COVID is causing acquired brain injury in some people. And so it's sad how many people are going through this, but it's also so beautiful to see the community come together and how much people can relate to one another. And just to be able to provide that kind of hope has just been a huge blessing, and I'm excited to see it continue to grow.
And when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned you have Bible studies. So how is this changing lives? What changes have you seen?
Thank you for asking that. Yeah, so we do have faith-based programs in addition to brain injury support programs. And I think that an example, I was thinking about this right before coming out here. Something that I wanted to highlight was that we have a couples support group for couples that are navigating brain injury together. And we have heard back from some of those couples saying, now I have the tools. Now I understand what my partner's going through, or being able to talk with other spouses who are living with somebody with the injury and having the tools to help their relationship with communication, the families being able to go, oh, so there's actually something I can do, and here's some tools, and here's some things to help. And those with brain injuries, giving them just little bits of help through maybe making a nutrition change or encouraging them through the neuroplasticity that's in their brain. I think we're just seeing people feeling like they're not alone and being able to take steps forward and having better quality of life.
Yeah, that is so important. Out of this trauma of events for you, you became a songwriter, singer too. Yeah. Share with us.
Yeah, so when I first had my brain injury, I struggled so much with something called aphasia, which is word finding challenges, as well as overstimulation, frontal lobe damage, which causes emotional dysregulation. And through that, songwriting became the way that I learned how to express it. And really, the Lord started to just give me songs, and I started to write things into song that I couldn't speak. And I started to sing, and it helped with my speech, and playing guitar helped with my right arm weakness. And music has been such a beautiful thing through writing songs, through worship leading, through it's been a huge part of my recovery journey.
Yeah, so inspiring for sure. And there's a live stream coming up. Tell us about that.
So as a singer-songwriter, I have 4 albums out of original music, and a lot of those songs are written about living with brain injury. On Tuesday night, for Hope Survives, we're doing a virtual benefit concert, and people can register to either watch it live or watch the recording later, but register by Tuesday, March 31st. For the end of Brain Injury Awareness Month, we are going to be celebrating with myself, another artist named Chris Dolce, and other special guests to provide encouragement, hope, doing original music, live streaming from a music studio. It's going to be so beautiful, and we would love to invite anyone who would love to watch an evening of encouragement.
Oh, that is wonderful. Cristabelle, we do need to take a break, but you're going to be singing for us in our next segment.
Thank you.
For more information about the upcoming live stream that Cristabelle was just talking about, or to learn more about Hope Survives, visit hopesurvives.org. Stay with us. We're back right after the break. In our last segment, Cristabelle Braden shared details about her nonprofit, Hope Survives. Now the singer-songwriter will share her single, Dare to Hope Again.
I've learned to live with heartache. I've learned to hide my pain. I've learned to build my walls so high just to get through the day. Somehow all this chaos became a part of me. Did I lose myself? Can I still find a reason to believe? My comfort zone says stay with what you know, but if I stay, I'm never gonna grow. Dare to hope again. Dare to dream again. Dare to pray for miracles that I can't comprehend. Take the leap of faith, even when I make mistakes. God help me to be brave enough to dare to hope again. Oh, dare to hope again. I'm learning how to let go, but I am still afraid. And then I close my eyes and softly hear you say my name. You tell me to be bolder, stronger every day. There's more to me, I wanna believe you will make a way. My comfort zone says stay with what you know, but deep inside, you're calling me to go. Dare to hope again, dare to dream again, dare to pray for miracles that I can't comprehend. Take the leap of faith, even when I make mistakes. God help me to be brave enough to dare to hope again. I'm gonna keep dreaming, I'm gonna keep believing. This is my new story, dare to hope again. I'm gonna keep growing, I'm gonna keep going. This is my new story, dare to hope again. Oh, dare to pray for miracles that I can't comprehend. Dare to hope again, dare to dream again, dare to pray for miracles that I can't comprehend. I'll take the leap of faith, even when I make mistakes. God help me to be brave enough to dare to hope again.
That was wonderful. Again, that was Cristabelle Braden performing her song, Dare to Hope Again. For more information about her music, go to CristabelleBraden.com. Stay with us. We're back right after the break. Welcome back. Coming up Monday on Morning Light, City on the Hill is a unique one-week experience for high school students. It's designed to teach them worldview principles, develop leadership skills, and defend their beliefs in a positive environment. Learn how your teen can attend. Plus, you'll hear from a student who's attended 4 years in a row. And that's a look at what's coming up Monday on Morning Light. Now, Jeff, your closing thoughts, and have a wonderful weekend.
Deborah, you have a great weekend. Get that yard clean.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the most important question any society answers is this: when is a human life worth protecting? This week, California Governor Gavin Newsom reflected on watching his mother die by assisted suicide, describing not peace, but conflict and tension shaped by his childhood faith. At the same time, lawmakers in the UK are debating major changes to abortion law, changes some argue could allow abortion up to birth. Globally, in places like Iran and Nigeria, we still see the basic failure of a government to protect the lives of its own citizens. But what's the big deal? Why should we care about all of that in America? Well, because we believe life isn't valuable because it's chosen or free from suffering. It's valuable because it's given. It's a gift. From the unborn child to the terminally ill patient and the young protester in Iran, each person bears the image of God with dignity independent from their circumstances or their birth. So the question isn't who decides when life ends, it's whether we will defend life. Will we speak up? Because a society's greatness isn't measured by incomes, it's how it protects the most vulnerable. For Deborah and the Morning Light team, I'm Jeff Coleman. Thanks for spending the week with us. Check on your neighbors. Let's meet back here again Monday morning.